alternate histories. So this week I am talking about alternate histories, in particular for Legend of the Five Rings. So there was this great book that came out called Imperial Histories 2, and in Imperial Histories 2 they talk about alternate histories. One of them that I've really liked and have wanted to play for a long time but just felt a little weird about it was the Emerald Empire of the Stars. It feels like L5R meets Spelljammer. It's space opera. You fly between planets in these archaically designed starships that look like giant sailing ships. There's entire planets of clans. The Shadowlands are actually this deep void chaos type thing. It's cool, but it's not quite what I'm shooting for. So I got to thinking, let's do L5R as Cyberpunk. So I came up with the idea of Five Ring Incorporated. So Five Ring Incorporated, I thought, I'm a genius. And then I remembered, oh yeah, we live in a postmodern age. There's going to be people who made this before me. So let's look at their stuff first. Rokugan 2000 was made back in like 1994, and basically it's a very realistic look of what would happen if Rokugan was pushed up to at least today, and then a little past that to where mega corporations had started taking over. And it doesn't quite feel like, it's definitely cyberpunk, but it doesn't quite feel the way I want it to feel. So it's a good start. The other place that I went was philgamer.wordpress.com. Under his L5R articles, he wrote one back in 2014 called Cyberpunk Rokugan, and he has quite possibly one of the best lines as the first bit to kind of introduce this idea. It's, Rokugan is a very different place in the cyberpunk future. Each of the clans is now a Zaibatsu, a mega-conglomerate of related corporations tied together by bloodlines, reaching back to the days of samurai. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. I want all of the spirit creatures, the fantasy, the Shadowlands, the corruption, all of that, but set in cyberpunk. I don't want to take away any of it. I don't want to devalue any of it. I just want to change it and keep it there and keep it interesting. So the idea is to take a lot of things that L5R does well, like dueling, and incorporate that into Shadowrun style gaming. And of course there's going to be duels still, but let's talk about something new. We're going to add a skill called computers, and there's going to be an emphasis on assessing, hacking. There's going to be an emphasis on security, some different ones that I'll think of along the way, but you get the idea. So the idea is, with this new computer skill, you can hack. Well, how are we going to do hacking? So if you hack and it's unopposed, there's just a firewall that you got to break. It's going to be a standard target number. You can make raises and do different things. So let's say, you come across a firewall, and I tell you, okay, well, you're looking at this firewall before you hack it. It doesn't look like it's going to be that bad. Your target number is going to be 15. Player character, who's a Scorpion hacker, turns around and says, okay, you know what? I'm going to raise twice, and what I want to do is create a backdoor, and I want to see if I can get this person's bank account, because he's hacking into an ATM. His bank account information. I go, okay, to get the bank account information, I'm going to require 2 raises, because this guy has a protection on him. So we both talk about it. We agree, okay, 3 raises in total. My player character goes, well, I've only got a 2 void, so I can only make 2 raises. How about I do this? I'm just going to create a backdoor in this ATM so I can access it later. And if I find somebody else who has maybe less security on their corporate credit card, I can get their money instead. Okay, cool. So he does 1 roll. He gets in. He gets his raise, and he creates a backdoor. Easy enough. Moving on. Now, when he goes to do it again, remember, he's got that backdoor. So now he has a free raise applied to his next thing. So the next time he comes in here and hacks, he goes, oh, I've got a void of 2. I've got a free raise. You know what? I'm going to use my backdoor, and I'm going to try and get that corporate credit card now. Let's say he fails, though. What's going to end up happening is he's going to get counter-traced, because the machine, that's what its action would be to counter-trace him and try and put some sort of software that could allow the police or the magistrates to find him, which the magistrates are going to feel a little bit more Judge Dreddy, kind of like streamlined tech armor, cops that are willing to kick down doors kind of feel. And then let's say instead he's going to hack a corporation and try and get some corporate secrets. A Zaibatsu will not just leave its databanks unprotected, so they're going to have a team of white hat hackers protecting it. So my Scorpion Clan player says, hey, I want to go after the crane. They've got something on my Daimo, my CEO. So let me find out. So he hacks in. Now we're going to do it like a duel, but it's not a duel that is traditional. It's not agreed upon. So each side will state what their purpose in this duel is going to be. My crane wants to set a tracer, or shut down his computer, or whatever else he wants to do. The Scorpion player wants to get into the system. So during the assess phase, he's assessing the quality of their security. Now during this phase, he can back out and he won't be traced at all. He can immediately leave, and it's like touching and going. Hackers do this in reality. They test systems. And then there's the focus stage. During the focus stage, you roll to see if you get bonuses on your strike stage. That's still going to stay the same. Then we go into the strike stage. In the strike stage, it's you actually doing the hack. Whoever wins, their objective is accomplished. So if the crane wins, you get your system locked up, and there's a tracer put on you. The cops are coming. You're going to be carted off to crane jail, corporate jail. It's going to be a bad news bears type situation for you. Now, the good part is my Scorpion can turn around, counter hack, and try and break that tracer so that he could at least get in. But he's first got to unlock the computer, and then he's got to destroy the tracer, and he's got to keep moving so that the Magistrates don't find him. That could be a fun adventure in and of itself. Now, let's say the Scorpion does it and he gets in. He wanted to acquire this information. Now that he's in, he can get that information he was looking for, but if he called raises, I might give him more information that he finds while hacking. Fun, right? I think that should work out real well. I have plans if this becomes something to make a Shugenja that can transport you as a party into the internet, and basically it's a very Tron-like feel. And the reason for that is I had this idea: the internet would become so intrinsically ingrained into a Shadowrun type society that you just can't take down the internet. Like, it would just spell disaster for everybody. The idea of a fire sale where somebody who comes in and controls everything and just shuts it all down would just completely hose everybody. So there's data chips. They're Koku chips. Essentially, that's how you spend money. You give people Koku chips. And say that because all finances and corporate plans are through the internet you just can't get rid of. You can't completely do away with it, but there's still going to be like archives that are full of scrolls, full of secrets and things like that, and written material. Paper is still going to be valued. So let's say, on this idea that the internet can't go away, that something made its way in there that now is a problem. The Lying Darkness. I haven't decided how it got there, but the Lying Darkness is now the internet. Kind of like inside the year 1200, the Lying Darkness becomes the Shadow Dragon. Well, what if the Shadow Dragon becomes the internet? Like, the internet only functions because the Shadow Dragon allows it to function. It's an extension of him. Perhaps maybe the internet was discovered once they killed the Shadow Dragon by tapping into his body, and his physical form is actually what allows the internet to exist. Well, with this idea, that means the Lying Darkness is out there, and it's in machines. There's corrupted machines, and machines can be created and given a life of their own to create like cyborgs, or not cyborgs, but more like cybernetic creatures, like robots and things like that. They're fully sentient, AI'd, but they're done via tapping into the kami. So you could have a robot that his whole purpose is to mine and smelt metal, and he's bound with a fire kami. Easy enough. When interacting with that robot, he'll have the personality traits of a fire kami, and he could be sealed by a Shugenja, which means I'm going to create a spell that allows you to seal kami to objects, which I totally took from Rokugan 2000 because I thought it was a great idea. And that also means that these kami can become corrupted, and there is going to be corrupted machines and cyborgs and robots and things like that. One of the things that I really loved from Shadowrun was the idea of cyber zombies. Basically, you've had way too much augmentation, your willpower is gone. What if instead you've had a lot of augmentation and you've become, like, your cybernetics have become corrupted? Now your human part of your brain that still exists knows exactly what your cybernetics are doing, but you can't stop it. The cybernetics have taken over your body, and you have to witness all these heinous, horrible crimes against humanity that your cybernetics are making you do. That's an interesting story for L5R, because L5R is always about fate, defying it, accepting it, seeing its repercussions, things like that. This man was fated to become a cyber zombie, essentially. He was fated to kill this family. He was fated to become killed by the players, who find out about his past and find out that his corporation was taken over by one of these street gangs, which I'm going to call the street clans. Basically, the Edda and Henin are fed up with their position in society, so they want to rebel. They form street clans, which are a mockery of these corporations, these Zaibatsus. They have daimos of their own, or CEOs, and they follow the rank and structure of the higher samurai caste in a mocking term, and they're fighting for rights for Henin and Edda. And some of them maybe are run by Ronin for some objective. Some Ronin may be pure and simply want these Henin and Edda to be accepted as common citizens, because Edda are not citizens of the megacities. Well, some Ronin, on the other hand, may be doing it so that they can manipulate this street clan into doing something that they need done. Some corporations may be actually behind them. Another thing that I was going to do is the Magistrates are kind of like Judge Dredd. They're going to be tougher. They're going to be more kick in the door kind of feeling. Things have changed. Like the Kaiju are some of the Kaiju have become a engineering corporation, and so they build things. And maybe the Hida have become construction workers and bodyguards mainly, because a lot of them are much bigger guys. The Haruma, for example, they were scouts. Some of them are still scouts because the Shadowlands in and of itself still exists. There's still forests and things like that because the Shugenjas have lobbied and protected lands, which is still a thing that's going on. Is some Shugenjas are trying to lobby for the protection of like the Shinomori, which is threatened to be cut down by the Kitsune Corporation, because they need the land, or at least they say they need the land. There may be something else behind that. I think it should be an interesting game, and a lot of the courtly stuff actually translates really well to having courtly things, because essentially each clan is going to be underneath the Emerald group. The Emerald group is going to be the Imperial family, and the idea that I wanted to do was something kind of like the Four Winds period. Essentially, there is no one in charge anymore. The Emperor, or the CEO of the Emerald group, has died, and he's left no heir. Because each clan, or Zaibatsu, has been given a fair share in the Emerald group, there's now the question of who should become the new champion or the new CEO, which will be fought politically and martially. There'll be people trying to lobby for a courtier to become this new CEO, because the last emperor was a bushi before he became the emperor, and he was a little bit more war-torn, and he believed fighting things, and it's because of him that the internet exists the way it does. He allowed the lying darkness to basically become the internet, and that was a secret until the last couple years, and now people know, and people are kind of questioning, what else did this emperor do in the name of the best situation for Rokugan? Maybe. It could be a very interesting game. I plan on doing a couple one-shots and things like that, which are going to be done through the Tabletop RPG campaign group, mostly because I've been getting a lot of success in that group lately. However, if I have interest in some of the other groups, I may do another one. I know that there were some people from Absolute Tabletop that were interested in playing as well, so I may throw one up inside there and see if I get any bites. But I intend to do at least 2, maybe 3 of them to try it out, and if it becomes something that people are very interested in, or it's a lot of fun to me, I may do tons of these things. My new work schedule affords me a chance to be available a little bit more often, even though it's on short notice. So if you are interested in these things, shoot me a message on Facebook, and I will point you to the right groups. I'm going to include links to those groups below. If you want to join the RPG Tabletop campaign group, however, it is a closed group, so I can talk to the admin if you let me know that you are interested in joining that group, and if the admins are okay with you joining the group, you'll of course be let in. Basically what we're looking for is people who are quality players and can GM, because the good part about that group right now is we have the problem of we actually have too many GMs, which is a good problem to have. It's the whole idea is that most of us are GMs and players, and it affords us the chance to cycle out as players and GMs. It's what most of these groups have been intended to be from the beginning, but because of the leadership inside that group, it's kind of maintained that so far. So As always, please feel free to thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, etc. this video. If you are a big L5R fan and you're interested in this, again, shoot me a message, talk to me inside the comments. And, you know, if this is something that's so interesting to you that you're like, I have to run that, do it. Run it. Let me know how it went for you. Other than that, guys, as always, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you at the gaming table.